also, when it comes to using herbs or when it comes to using vitamins and minerals, we'll always use the form that is the safest and the most absorbed. Now, that's important, and it goes across our whole range, so I'm not going to give you every single example. But for example, there are a number of different types of vitamin C. The common types of vitamin C is vitamin C ascorbic acid. But vitamin C is water-soluble, and there's a problem with water-soluble vitamin C in that, A, the body can't store it, and more importantly, interestingly, is that vitamin C, the water-soluble form, can protect the blood, no problem, but it finds it difficult to penetrate into the cells of the body because, remember, like I mentioned to you earlier, where water won't dissolve grease, similarly, and the reason is because water is a polar molecule and the grease is a non-polar molecule. You will not get substances which are polar dissolving in non-polar dissolving in polar solvents. It's a law which says like dissolves in like, and non-like will not dissolve in non-like. It's a scientific principle. Now, the cell membrane is fatty. It's like a fatty membrane. Ascorbic acid, the vitamin, is water-soluble, and the cell resists its penetration. It doesn't allow it to enter because it's not soluble in fat. Whereas there's another type of vitamin C known as ascorbyl palmitate, which is fat-soluble vitamin C. And fat-soluble vitamin C very easily penetrates, it's also known as an ester form, it very easily penetrates into the middle of the cell. So, for example, we will use a fat-soluble and a water-soluble vitamin C inside a vitamin C product called double vitamin C. The ascorbyl palmitate form can also be stored in the body. And it's not me telling you this, there's research behind it. So, for example, it can be stored in the fat reserves and released continuously throughout the day or throughout the month or throughout the week if you become deficient in vitamin C. Remember, the vitamin C you take now will be flushed out of your body in a few hours. So, sorry, my phone's just flashing at me, so I'll turn it over. It's irritating when it does that. Okay, that's one example. We'll also, for example, use our water-soluble form of vitamin C will be a non-acidic form, what we call a buffered vitamin C. So it's not going to be acidic on a person's stomach. Our vitamin E, we don't just use the alpha-tocopherol form. You know, the type of vitamin E you get in your food is gamma-tocopherol and gamma-tocotrienol. Your main type of vitamin E you get is gamma-tocopherol, not alpha. But all the vitamin E supplements are alpha-tocopherol. Gamma-tocopherol has got health benefits that alpha doesn't have. Alpha is, fair enough, your most powerful antioxidant, but it does not possess any of the cancer protective or cardiovascular protective effects of gamma-tocopherol. It doesn't have them. So by supplementing with alpha-tocopherol, you're actually doing yourself possibly a disservice because you're displacing from the receptors the gamma-tocopherol from protecting against cardiovascular disease and cancer. And there was a study done, I can't remember the name of the journal, but it was published in August last year, showing that doses above 400 IUs of vitamin E in the alpha form increases risk of cancer, not decreases. Yet the gamma-tocopherol, when taken with that level of alpha-tocopherol, there's other research also published last year, reduces risk of cancer. There are 8 types of vitamin E. There's an alpha-beta gamma-tocopherol and tocotrienol. We put in all 8 forms, the forms that are found in diet. When it comes to vitamin B12, there's 2 types, cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Cyanocobalamin, no big deal at low doses, 1 to 2 micrograms, which is 100% of RDA. But if you want to protect your heart or reduce stress levels, you need to take much higher doses. Because remember, homocysteine, which is a heart toxin, is reduced by folic acid and B12. But you need to take 1 to 2,000 micrograms, 1,000 times that dose. Now, if you're taking the cyanocobalamin, it breaks down into true B12, cobalamin, and guess what the cyano part breaks down into? Cyanide. Okay, not a big deal at low doses, but when you're talking about 1 to 2 milligram doses, that becomes significant. Not in terms of killing you, but in terms of starving the cells of oxygen, not on an absolute level that they die, but on a low level so that you build up high levels of carbon dioxide and free radicals, and it's one of the causes of the aging process is cellular damage. Whereas if one uses the methylcobalamin form of B12, it breaks down into cobalamin, which is great, your B12, and it in fact donates a methyl group. Now, whenever you donate a methyl group, it's called methylation. That's a very good thing. We love methylating agents in our bodies. Things like trimethylglycine, things like S-adenosyl methionine, SAMe. Anything that donates a methyl group regenerates the liver, detoxifies the liver because it plugs on this methyl group so that the liver can excrete toxins from your body. It protects the liver, and it adds a methyl group. It adds a group to make your neurotransmitters in your brain. When you add a methyl group to a precursor in the brain, you get serotonin, you get acetylcholine, you get dopamine, you get noradrenaline. And anything that donates a methyl group always helps with depression, focus, concentration, willpower, all the neurotransmitters in the brain. And that's one of the reasons why folic acid and B12 is good for depression. That's why B12 can help with stress, because it donates a methyl group. So we will use the methyl cobalamin form. The list goes on and on.